just lit an incense and it smelled like my auntie house. Auntie, is this the incense you be burning? Yo, you already know what time it is. Welcome back to another weekly recap of Thinker versus Speaker. If you didn't know, my name is Marissa the Thinker, host of the podcast Thinker versus Speaker, where once a week, sorry, I had to swallow. Where once a week I sit down with different guests and we talk about all things, anything, everything, life, love, relationships, spiritualities, day journey, mental health, so much stuff. We literally talk about any and everything. Nothing is off limits when it comes to Thinker versus Speaker. And this is a recap where I get to talk about what we talked about last week, what we talking about this week, and then everything in between. So, you know what I'm saying? If you like that type of thing, definitely make sure you go check out the podcast. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and right here on YouTube. So there's no reason for you to miss us, for real. Like, we right here. I always say we, and it's me. I guess when I say we, I mean me and my guests, because I'm really never alone. So yeah, me and my guests. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? Definitely make sure to go check us out over there. Let's get the cat out the bag. Let's get it out the way early. I know you haven't seen from me, heard from me, nada since the last episode, last recap. That's not quite true. I did put out some shorts the day that the episode came out, but that was it. So, why, you ask? Or did you not ask? Did you ask? I don't know. I'm going to tell you anyway. So, y'all know how important mental health is to me, or at least you should know, right? If you listen to the podcast, if you stay tuned with us and all those things like that, you know how important mental health is for me. And you know what I'm saying? This whole thing is a process. It's a process that I'm still getting used to. Yeah, when I started the podcast, I really underestimated the amount of work that it was gonna be. You know what I'm saying? Not in a bad way. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining at all. I actually love doing this. But when I started, I was actually like finding my life in general, right? So I was learning how to be a human again. Like, I was coming out of like codependent relationships and like lifestyles and just not knowing who I was or who I wanted or anything. So really, like, during the course of this podcast, it was like really me just like finding myself, you know? So there are still some times where I have hiccups and I go back and forth, because at the end of the day, like, I'm still human. Like, I know I spit all of this like happiness and positivity and stuff, and it's real, but like, what comes with all of the good, right? You got your other stuff. I don't want to call it bad, but it's just the other stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I have times where I'll just like not feel motivated and I have to recharge my battery. So it was a holiday weekend. We had a 3-day weekend and I spent it recharging my battery, getting back to myself. I went to like the record store. I started working out and stuff again. So you know what I'm saying? I really just journaling, getting back into journaling, because like this consumes a lot of my time. Like, getting the shorts, the recaps, the clips, the videos, like, it's very, very time consuming. And I work a 40-hour job, and I also try to be a person. And usually the part that gets neglected is the human aspect of me, if I'm being honest. Like, that, you know what I'm saying? I go to work because I got to pay my bills. And then after paying my bills, you know what I'm saying, I give it all to the podcast. So the way that I go in sometimes, it makes it very, very, very likely for me to burn out. So lately, I've just been focusing on how to give to the podcast and the growth of the podcast, but also balance out my own life and mental health as well. Like, how do I pour into the many cups that I have? I might have to revisit that episode that I had with Kiara. Actually, no, I had to take some advice from that episode with Kiara, where it's just like getting back to my planners, because I had gotten away from my planners a little bit, gotten away from my self-care a little bit. And like, that's how important it is. Like, that's high key how important it is to always make sure that you check in on your mental health and make sure that you're pouring back into yourself, because if you're not, life will slow you down real quick. And I know that by experience. Okay. So for sure, definitely, that's kind of like what I was dealing with this week. Like, it wasn't a bad thing. Like, anytime that I talk about my spells of being like, of not being motivated or going through things like that, I never see it as a bad thing, really. It's something that I have to go through to learn and grow. And it's just a part of life. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing something that's unknown, that's new to me. And, something in the past that I wasn't good at was giving myself grace. So now I do give myself grace. You know what I'm saying? To tell myself like, hey, you've been doing a lot. Take a break so you can keep going. And that's exactly what I did. So if you haven't seen as much content from me, that's why. I haven't quit. I haven't given up. Like, we still got an episode coming out Friday. Still got an episode coming out next week. Like, I still got stuff going on in the background. And a lot of the times when I get quiet, it's not that I'm not doing anything at all. It's really because I got stuff going on in the background. I actually got to record the episodes that I'm giving to y'all, right? So, yeah, it's just me doing that. So, yeah. With that being said, I am working on some things, you know what I'm saying? I am going to find some ways to make this a lot easier, you know what I'm saying? It might be time to build a team. Might finally be time to build that team. So, you know what I'm saying? I had pushed it off for a real long time, but you know what I'm saying? Honestly, it's just a sign of growth. And I'm excited to start that chapter, you know what I'm saying, to make the content a little bit better, free up some of my own time and resources, and you know what I'm saying, be able to, put it in the hands of somebody that is a little more qualified with a little more time to give me more time to do the things that I need to do so we can keep on growing and glowing. Because I see that we really didn't miss out too much on nothing. Y'all definitely did check out last week's episode. I appreciate that. We also got some new subscribers too. So shout out to the new subscribers. You know what I'm saying? We trying to get to 150. So if you haven't subscribed, definitely make sure to go do that. And if you have subscribed, make sure you hit the notification bell button so people know. So, well, not people know. So you know when I do drop content, especially as I go through this transitional period of figuring out how much content I actually want to drop, or how much content we even need. Because it feels like y'all was still rocking with me even without me posting every day. So thank y'all. I really appreciate y'all. For real. Like, definitely grateful. And like, honestly, like, I could use y'all help. Like, I'm going to ask for y'all help directly right now. You know what I'm saying? While I go through this transition period, while I try to figure out, you know what I'm saying, how we going to approach getting y'all daily content, who's going to get y'all that daily content, if you know what I mean. As I go through that period, you know what I'm saying, I could use y'all help. My OGs, I know I definitely got a lot of y'all supporting me, making sure to like share my content, tell other people about it. Like, thank you. I see y'all doing that and I really appreciate it. Like, y'all give me that push when I don't have it to push myself. So I really appreciate y'all being out there doing that for me. But you know what I'm saying? If y'all like it, if y'all want to help us grow, definitely make sure that y'all keep sharing it, keep putting other people onto what it is that we doing over here, because we definitely having some important conversations. But with that being said, let's talk about last week, right? Man, if you haven't checked it out, definitely make sure you go do so. That's one of my like favorite episodes. I think y'all finally got, well, not finally got me. I do some episodes where I'm in like full form. Shout out to, fun fact, I like Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z and stuff. So y'all got me in like my full form. Like Marissa went Super Saiyan Blue in the last episode, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I kind of went Super Saiyan Blue. Y'all got to see me like really putting my brain to work, because we talked about history and its connection to like current events, or how we are able to connect history through current events and things that are going on in today's world. Like, my name is not Marissa the Thinker for no reason. My name is Marissa the Thinker because I literally just spend all of my time, or at least a lot of it, thinking. I actually have to work harder to not think than I do to think. You know what I mean? Like, I have to be intentional about not thinking because I think so much type of deal, you know? So, you know what I'm saying? I know a lot of things, not for no reason. I don't think having knowledge is a bad. My bad, y'all. I ran out of storage. But, you know, never is having knowledge a bad thing. I actually think having knowledge is an amazing thing. Like, the more that you know, the easier that it is to actually navigate the world and see through certain things. You know what I'm saying? Like, knowledge is definitely a good thing to have. And I definitely encourage people to further their knowledge. Like, if it's anything that you're interested in, further that knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Build on that. Always make sure that you, especially like politically aware, make sure you know what's going on in the world. And you know what I'm saying? Having knowledge helps you to be able to come up with your own opinion, so you're not so easily swayed and it's not easy for people to manipulate you. You know what I'm saying? Knowledge is a good ground to stand on. So the more that you know, the better it will always be. So I've always been a proponent of knowledge, but yeah, I used to spend a lot of time just like watching like the History Channel and Discovery Channel, National Geographic, all that kind of stuff. And it just taught me a lot of things. And then what I do with that information is I just literally sit and I watch the world. And then I put two and two together. So in last week's episode, as we are talking about history, you know what I'm saying, I get to take A, B, put it together, and then we talk about it. You know what I'm saying? And we cover a lot of things. Like, we talk about, you know, COVID. We talk about COVID and the Spanish flu. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the only comparable pandemic to COVID. And then you can look at the effects that the Spanish flu had from, you know what I'm saying, the dip in the population, and then what came later, right? Because that happened in about 1918. COVID happened in about 2020. And then you got, you know what I'm saying, after that. And I'm not saying that these things are related. It's just literally look at history, right? Because then you had, you know, the Great Depression happened in like the 20s and 30s, and it happened in the 1930s. What pulled you out of the Great Depression? It was the industry that was created through wartime, because that's when World War II happened, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Then we actually talked about, you know what I'm saying, how in the 1910s and 20s, you saw like the rise of the first like African-American millionaires. You saw a lot of African-Americans being educated. You saw the emergence of a lot of our fraternities, sororities, things of that nature. And just talking about all of that and how it connects to history and like the state of where people were at the time, and then being able to correlate that back to today's time. So if you're interested in that type of thing, definitely make sure you go check it out. It does get a little political up in there. So if you're into history, you're into politics, like, definitely make sure you go check it out. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section. I'll definitely make sure to check and respond. I actually had like some really interesting dialogue in the comment section when I did post those shorts. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna definitely have to double back with this episode and get some more shorts and clips out, because I want to get more dialogue, and it seems like that's what's generating the dialogue. You know what I mean? And I had some interesting conversation, especially around the aspect of like critical race theory. Like, do we think it's a good thing? Do we think it's a bad thing? Why not? What do you have to support those ideas, right? Because like in my mind, see, critical race theory is a theory. You know what I'm saying? It's a theory. So anything that comes with it is something else. But like, you know what I'm saying? When we're talking about the theory itself, like, why don't we want to talk about it? You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people have differing opinions, and strong differing opinions when it comes to things like that. So I definitely thought it was an interesting conversation worth having. So again, make sure you go check that episode out. Shout out to Ashton for doing it with me and having that conversation. We really got into some stuff. So thank you. Appreciate you. And then we'll have you back again And then the next episode that we have is actually with an old friend of mine. We go back to like me being 12, kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like we go back to middle school, you know what I'm saying? So I got Donald, who is a photographer, and he also does digital art and some game streaming over on YouTube. He calls himself the geek of all trades, which is also the name of the episode. And in his episode, a big underlying theme that we get into is maturity, right? Because honestly, like with it's not about like our personal life or anything like that, but like, you know, with me and him, like, you know, we met in middle school, did some high school together. After high school, you know what I'm saying? You know how it is. You don't talk to people again, and then you come down later, and then you reconnect, and it's like, oh wow, like we're the same people, but we're in different places. And it's interesting to see how people matured and how we're able to have particular conversations about certain things. So we got into a lot in his episode. We talked about how he got into photography and what he does with it. We talk a lot about his journey just through school and how he landed into that particular passion, along with, you know, procrastination and how we deal with it, and also like learning how to love ourselves and coming into our own and really finding ourselves and figuring out what we want to do in life. And how now at this age, like, you know how like when you get out of high school and everybody is just like, you're grown now, like figure out life, and it's just like, what? But like in your mind, like you're ready to like take on the world, because it's just like, oh, I'm grown. And in reality, like some of us are not that grown. Like it's not until about now where it's like we'll look around and it's just like, okay, no, I got it, I'm figuring it out. You know, like you've done some adult things, you've went through all of the motions and stuff like that, but now it's really time to flex that muscle and show what it is that you can do. You know what I'm saying? So like now that we're at the ages that we're at, it's just like, okay, like I did it one way. Now let's really go for it. Like now let's really go for gold. I went for gold, didn't go the greatest. Now let's do it again with the right tools, the right resources. And also he's a part of the expo, the business expo, the Emerging Business Leaders Expo that Travion is a part of. He's actually another one of the people on the board putting it together. So we get to hear a little bit more about where they're at with that Emerging Business Leaders Expo and what their plans to do with it is. So definitely make sure to go check that episode out. I'm excited to have you all hear it. I'm literally about to go put it together right now. So with that being said, I'm not going to take up any more of y'all time. I'm about to get back to work now that I'm done resting and recovering and all those things. I'm getting back to work. I'm going to let y'all have it. Make sure to go check out the last episode. Stay tuned for tomorrow's episode. And that's pretty much all I got. Oh, make sure that you check us out if you're looking for me on social media, you can find me at MarissaY17 on Instagram, Marissa the Thinker on Facebook and YouTube. And if you're looking for Thinker versus Speaker, it's Thinker versus Speaker on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And then if you're looking to stream the podcast, we're on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. New episodes drop every Friday at 11 a.m. These recaps here drop every Thursday I think it's Thursday at 10 a.m. I think we're doing Thursdays at 10 for the recaps. But yeah, recaps drop every Thursday at 10. So if you're looking for me, you already know where to find me. And yeah, with that being said, if you like the content, make sure you like it, share it, put other people on. Help me out. Subscribe to the channel. If you're watching this somewhere that's not YouTube, go over to YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. If you already subscribed on YouTube, watching on YouTube, hit the notification bell button so you know when we're posting. Because guess what? When I get that help I need, I can make more content. And then if I make more content, I make different content. And then if y'all already like what I do, then y'all know y'all gonna like what I do next. So just make sure y'all here for it, okay? Just make sure y'all here for it, okay? But without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here because I got stuff to do. I'm gonna see y'all tomorrow. Later.